Did you know that the University of Scranton did a research and they discovered that 92% of Americans who set their goals, they never achieve them, which means only 8% do? Welcome to Achieve. I'm your host, Wanda Martin, and I'm here to give you goal-setting strategies to help you become a part of that 8%. Now, in today's episode, I have a very dear friend to me who is a successful goal-setting entrepreneur, and that is none other than Dr. Yvonne Capeheart.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Capehart. How are you today?
I am wonderful and so honored to be with you this morning.
Oh, I'm so honored to have you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Achieve Show. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Capehart. Dr. Capehart is a very successful entrepreneur who is the founder of Ask Big Summit, Ask Big Mentoring Institute, and she also, is a fabulous host of many conferences, and she's also an author. An author of a whole lot of books, y'all. And her latest books are Be Seated, Please, Ask Big Toolkit, and also Ask Big Journal. And so please help me welcome Dr. Yvonne Capeheart. Dr. Yvonne Capeheart, I'm so excited to have you.
Listen, I am so excited to be with you and congratulations on this phenomenal journey of Achieve. So I am just super excited to be with you this morning.
Oh, thank you so much. When I was thinking about, who can I have on my show, I was thinking your name came to my heart because you are like a goal-setting strategist yourself. Being an entrepreneur, you have accomplished many of your goals, and so I could not think of anyone else to have on this show except for Dr. Yvonne Capeheart. So thank you again.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored.
Now, Dr. Capehart, everyone who comes on my show has to give us the 8% sign. So hold up your 8% sign. This is our 8%. We're part of the 8%.
You're going to have to tell me what the 8% sign is?
The 8%, you just hold them 8 fingers, saying you're a part of the 8%.
What now?
I said you holding up your 8 fingers to say you're a part of the 8%.
Oh, okay. So let me just see how I'm going to do mine. I don't want to
how you going to do it?
We'll do it like this.
There you go. Yes.
Okay.
That's That's our 8% sign.
Wow.
Because only 8% of Americans who set goals, they actually achieve them. And so let's go ahead and dive on into these questions because I know you have some great answers for us today. Now, Dr. Capehart, how did your goal setting techniques get you to where you are today? Can you just tell us that, please?
Listen, I am a strong believer that goal setting is the most significant thing that we need to do in order to be successful. Without a goal, you're just wandering through the world. And so I believe that my goal setting started at a very young age of growing up poor, growing up in, in a small country, in a small city, and just not having much, but I knew on the inside of me that something was bigger, that was something better for me. So I can remember as a small young lady, just simply saying, I'm not going to be poor. And so at the age of 13 and 14, I started out with my very first job of making my little money just to better myself. And I set a goal and a plan, how much I was going to make. And that just started with something really, really simple. And believe it or not, it was just collecting bottles and cans and taking them to the recycle place and getting my little money. I would go out and ask certain people, what do you need to do just to make some extra cash? Because I knew that if I had a goal, and my goal was at 14, was to save up enough money to make sure that by the time I became a senior, I could afford all of my senior functions, my senior ring and my senior trip, because my mother, I knew, could not afford to do that. Being in the, having the income that she had. And so that was my first goal that I can remember setting. And I reached my goal, and I had even an abundance by the time I became a senior. So that was just one of the things that I can remember. So goal setting has always been very important to me.
Okay, that's awesome. I love the fact that you started goal setting when you were 14 years old.
14 years old.
Wow,
14 years old.
that
I
is
was
a
determined.
that yes, I see. That is amazing. You know, one of the things that I teach about with goal setting is that it's important for you to have a deadline date, and it's important for you to be specific. And it sounded like you were very specific. You knew exactly how much money you wanted to make, but you also superseded that amount, obviously. But then you also
Absolutely.
had your deadline date. You wanted to make a certain amount of money by the time you was a senior, so you can enjoy all the senior festivities. And so that is so awesome. You know what, Dr. Capehart, and knowing you personally, you know, I know you have pursued a whole lot of goals. But what drive do you utilize to pursue goals? What drive you to pursue the goals that you have pursued? What motivates you? I mean, because you're a very motivating individual. So what drive did you use to motivate you to pursue your goals?
I believe that wholeheartedly, one of the greatest motivations that I have is my passion to succeed in the purpose that God has placed on my life.
Okay.
My passion has always been the driving force behind my purpose. And so for me, it is if I am not fulfilling and doing what I'm called to do, I am just not a happy person. But you put me in the presence of my purpose, my whole life lights up, my whole being, because it is who I am. So what drives me is knowing that I am fulfilling my purpose.
That's great. You know, I'm going to veer off just a little bit because, you know, I teach on goal setting, and a lot of times when I teach individuals about goal setting, their first question is, well, how do I know what goal to set? How do I discover my passion? How do I discover my purpose? How did you discover your passion? How did you discover your purpose? And to know what goals to set, because I believe that's where it has to begin. You have to know what your purpose is. The moment you know what your purpose is, then you can set goals thereafter. And so, how were you able to discover what your purpose is in the earth?
Be honest with you. I think it's my third book that I wrote, Drawn to Destiny,
Okay.
because that particular journey taught me something when I was writing that book, is that destiny really does find you.
That's good.
And the issue with many of us is the reason why is because we're looking for something that is already looking for us.
Oh, that's
And it
good.
is a matter of embracing what is finding you. What is so for me, it was helping people, making sure people reach their goal, making sure people were fulfilled. And I go back again, even as a young child, before I even knew what purpose was, what my goal was in life, even in high school, I will even go back further, even in middle school, I was always the go-to girl to help everybody. I was always that person who wanted to see others happy, others successful, others succeed. And so I would say to people, the best way to determine your goal and your passion is and your purpose, look at what is around you that brings you joy.
Okay.
What is that thing that you can't seem to get past
Absolutely.
and move beyond? That is the place where you need to start looking at.
So you have
Look
to
at
find out
what
where your
is
joy
coming
is.
around you. And for me, it was always people asking me for advice. And I'm like, why are these people always asking me for advice? Little did I know that that is what God was raising me up to be. And now today I'm a public speaker. That is a part of what I'm doing. And I always share when I'm speaking is that growing up, even in the classroom, I would get in trouble for talking. But people around me should have known and at least tapped into that. This girl is anointed to talk.
You're
She
anointed.
is anointed in that area.
Yes.
And so rather than smothering that gift, they should have tried to embrace that with me, put me on a public speaking platform in high school, and would have allowed me to flourish more. But that didn't come about until later in life. So I tell
Okay.
people, look in what is your passion? What
Yes.
drives you? And
Yes.
you will discover that is your passion and that is your purpose.
I love that. I love that. To look in what your passion is, looking really where you find your greatest joy. Where you find your greatest joy is where you're going to find your passion. Well, Dr.
Yes.
Capehart, we're about to take a quick break, but before we do, real quick, can you just tell us how do you deal with setbacks when it comes to achieving your goals? Real quick, just take us to how you deal with setbacks with achieving your goals. Right before we take a break, I would love to hear how you deal with your setbacks when it comes to achieving your goals.
Okay, so for many years, I would deal with my setbacks by crying, complaining, and beating myself up with guilt. the more I matured and the more I understand, setbacks come with the process of being successful. So rather than viewing my setbacks as something negative, I view my setbacks now as let me see the blessing in this. Let me see what I can learn from this, gain from this, and then move forward from this. So every setback for me now is a lesson. It is a tool that I'm going to use that setback to come back with a great bounce back. So now I don't look at my setbacks as something negative. I use them to refuel, renew, and regain my momentum to come back again even better. So I don't complain about a setback. I just simply say, this setback is going to set me up for a great comeback. So I just view them as something positive and not something negative.
I love it. I love it. And I believe that's so important to all the entrepreneurs that are out there to look at setbacks really as a setup. Learn from those lessons and use those lessons to motivate you to set another goal or to go after that goal, but with a greater purpose or with a greater strength or a greater strategy. And so, hey, listen, we're going to take a real quick break and then we're going to come back so we can hear more information, more goal setting strategies from Dr. Yvonne Capeheart on how to be a part of the 8%. We'll be right back.
I feel bad for kicking your seat on purpose.
I'm sorry for mansplaining. That's when a man...
I know what it is.
We should have just told you it's a boy.
I wish you didn't have to hear all that.
Sorry I called you Karen.
That's my name.
Sorry your name is Karen.
I promise I will not eat any more of your friends.
Really?
Okay, it might happen one more time.
Hi everyone, my name is Milton Corsi. I'm here with my co-host, Mark Iorio. Welcome to Team Talk.
Team Talk's all about bringing teams together, bringing organizations together, bringing a diverse group of people together to make the organization a better, more successful organization. Listening to every single voice in the organization to make it better.
Yeah, our guests are going to include people from industry, people from sports, and other walks of life. And they're going to talk to us about their specific journeys to team success.
Tune in on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. and then again on Thursday evening at 5 p.m. to watch Milton and I talk about Team Talk. We're looking forward to having you join us.
Welcome back to Achieve. I'm your host, Wanda Martin, where I teach people how to be a part of the 8%. The 8% are those who are successful in achieving their goals. Now, in today's episode, I have with me Dr. Yvonne Capeheart. She is a goal-setting strategist, entrepreneur who has really knocked all of her goals out of the park. And so I'm so honored to have her back with us today. So Dr. Yvonne Capeheart, we are going to continue to hear some of these good strategies, tips, and tools that you have been giving us to help us to achieve our goals as well. And so my next question to you, Dr. Capehart, is how is having goals, how having goals produce growth in your life? And the reason why I ask that question is because, most people, they look at goal setting as something to get. They set goals because they want to get something. But I believe you should set goals to grow you. Not set goals to get something, but set goals to grow you. And, I've known you for quite some time, and you're definitely not the same person that I've met before. You have grown to another whole level. So how has having goals produced growth in your life?
Well, you just said something really powerful there, is that setting goals is to grow you.
Yeah.
But let me just add just another little word to that that I use is setting goals for me is also used to grow me, but setting goals is also used to guide me. I believe that when you set a goal, it is the steps that will guide you to the right place where you're supposed to be in destiny. Because when you are passionate and when you have purpose, you have to be very careful that you don't allow your passion to direct you into a position and a purpose for which you were never planted in the earth to do. So therefore, you'll be wasting a lot of time doing things that you were never called to do. So when you set the goal will then keep you on track and keep you focused on where you are headed so that you're not pulled in all of these other directions. when you're getting on your journey. So use your goal setting to grow you and to guide you.
Oh,
If you do that, you will always wind up in the right location.
Oh, that's absolutely powerful. That was perfect. Use your goals not just to grow you, but also to guide you. And I find that, when I talk to many people and they don't have goals set up in their lives, they're really lost. They're just drifting along in life. They're just existing. And I find it's because, like you just said, they don't have any goals. Having goals, it definitely will guide you through life. And so I love that one. What about Dr. Capehart? Can you tell us, I know that you're married, and so I know you and your husband, y'all are awesome people in the kingdom and in the earth. But could you tell us, because you wear so many different hats, how do you balance pursuing your goals and also your marriage at the same time?
Well, every time I'm asked this question, over the years, I've matured so much and grown so much in my teaching of trying to help people to understand and how to have and maintain balance. One of the things that I have really focused on to understand is it is very important that you don't go into marriage just for marriage. You must go into marriage as a partnership of purpose. So your marriage, first out of understanding, you must marry someone that understands the purpose on your life. And you can't marry someone who understands the purpose on your life if you don't know the purpose on your life. And so this is why I tell people, before you even connect in marriage, make sure you understand your purpose, because connecting with the wrong partner can sabotage your purpose. They could be wonderful people. They could be awesome. It could be an awesome man, she could be an awesome woman, but they don't fit your purpose. And so you're going to butt heads. And so you'll be frustrated in a partnership that doesn't understand your purpose. And so for me, my husband understands my purpose. He doesn't compete with my purpose. He completes my purpose. He complements my purpose. And therefore, he allows me to succeed in my purpose. And it's not, it's just not frustrating. I travel around the country, around the world. My husband does not. He says that is not his purpose. So for us, it works. When my children were real small, I didn't travel, but when they were, in middle school or whatever, I traveled, but my husband didn't. So it worked for us that he stayed home, I traveled and fulfilled my purpose. So having the right partner will make it easier to balance out your ministry. Now, when I'm home, I am not the public speaker. When I am home, I am not the author. When I am home, I'm not the mentor. I am the wife. So I had to learn when to tilt this hat in the other direction so that I could still be the woman that I needed to be at home, but be the inspirational woman I needed to be on the platform. So I had to learn to do that.
I love that. I love that. Dr. Capehart, you started off by saying in the earlier part of our interview how you started with goals when you were 14 years old. And so at that particular time, obviously you weren't married, but what would you say to those who are single and they're pursuing their goals in life?
For the singles, listen, one of the things that I teach now, to me, the greatest opportunity to feel your purpose is when you are single, because of the fact that you don't have to deal within the balancing act and all of that. Because for me, again, traveling as a mother and a wife, I would still have to make sure that everything at home was done before I could even get on the road, before I could even do any of that. As a single person, you have the greatest opportunity to develop and to succeed in the things that you desire to do without having all of the other responsibilities. So I would simply say to those who are single, look now at the goals and the dreams that you desire to do and succeed at doing that now. Set that goal and do that. If you meet a partner along the way, wonderful, wonderful. But look at your singleness as an opportunity to succeed to the fullest and do it to the max.
I love it. I love that. As a matter of fact, really what you're saying, just do it now.
Do it now.
Don't wait. You don't have to wait. Just go ahead and do it now. I love that, Dr. Capehart. And it leads me to my next question when it comes to doing it now. I know you have many of disciplines, many of habits in order to reach the goals that you have achieved in life today. And so my question to you is, what discipline do you use to achieve your goals? What kind of habits have you set up in place for yourself? Or what kind of standards do you use in order to achieve your goals as an entrepreneur?
Well, for me, the discipline probably is an area that I've always had to really, really work on is
Okay.
discipline, because my heart always gets in the way of my head. My head is where my purpose is, but my heart is where my passion is. So I've always had to get them on the same page, because my discipline is I had to learn how to be okay with not doing what people desired me to do, but that I was not destined to do. And so I had to learn it's okay for people to be disappointed when I said no, because because I was always, okay, let me do this for you. Okay, I can do this. Yes, yes, yes. But my yes to them got in the way of my yes to my destiny.
That's good.
And so it would always be a fight. So my discipline, I had to learn to discipline myself to stop allowing my heart to always feel that I had to please people.
That's so good.
Because the more I please people, the less I was fulfilling my purpose.
That is so
And so
good.
I tell people, you must learn to be okay with disappointing people along the way. They will learn to respect you in the end when they see you succeed in your goals and that you set for yourself. Because if you're going to be the type of person who wants to please everyone, you will then please everyone else but yourself. So learn to discipline yourself and fulfilling your destiny and your assignment. Now that does not mean that there aren't times that you will set aside some things to do things for others. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is don't fall for the trap that I did many times of saying yes to others when it sidetracked me and distracted me from my destiny. I had to learn to discipline myself to be more focused.
That's so good. You know, and you're not the only one. I had that same challenge. There are other individuals I know myself have those same issues and those same struggles, and they're still now working through those things so that they can achieve their goals. You know, one thing in teaching about time management, that's one of the things that will steal your time. You're doing other things for everyone else, but you're not doing things for yourself. And so you find yourself helping others to achieve their goals, which means nothing wrong with that. But when you go back and look at yourself, you haven't achieved any goals yourself. And so, you know, we have to be careful with that, to saying yes to everything, while at the same time you're saying no to yourself and you're not achieving any of your goals. So you have to have a well balance with that. And so I thought that was so good, and I thank you for bringing that out, because that is definitely some of the issues that I find in talking with individuals who are trying to achieve their goals. You know, some people just deal with being a people pleaser. And so they struggle with that. Yeah, they struggle with being a people pleaser, and it hinders them from achieving their goals. It hinders them from being a part of that 8%. And so, Dr. Capehart, what role would you say having a positive mindset play in achieving your goals? You know, because every time I have spoken with you, you're so encouraging. You have such a positive mindset about everything. What role does having a positive mindset have with achieving your goals?
Wow, a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that, as I said, your mind and your mindset is going to be the driving force behind whether or not you succeed, or whether or not your vision and your purpose just fizzle out. It's because the mind is where your purpose is given life. And so for me, I always have to make sure that mind battle does not get in the way of my blessing. And so I have to learn in my mind first. And I always say to people that long before people see your vision in the natural, you must first see it in your mind. And so how you see your vision, how you see yourself, is how you're going to replicate that or demonstrate that on the outside. So if your mindset is always negative, then that's what you're going to project. So for me, my mindset is always in my mind, because I see my vision first in my mind. Long before I do it in the natural, I have seen it in my mind. I have stood on the stage. I have held the book in my hand. I have walked into the building. I have sat on the stage. So in my mind, I see it first.
And I love
so
that.
What are you seeing in your mind first?
I love
what
that.
What is the vision that you're seeing? That's why we have blueprints. Blueprints are to show you what is to come. And so the blueprint is laid before even the foundation is laid. So God gives us a blueprint of our vision and of our purpose to hold on to in our hearts, hold on to in our minds, so that when the storm comes to try to make it look like what you saw in the blueprint is not going to come to pass, you go back to the blueprint.
I love it.
And many times, even in my journey, when things happen, storms happen, tragedies happen, in my life, and maybe it looks like, okay, what I'm building is not going to work. I go back to the blueprint in my mind and I say, this is what God showed me in the beginning, so let me see how this is going to play out.
I love that,
Always
Dr.
go back to the blueprint that God gives you.
That's good.
Keep a positive mindset and you will build, because if I've seen people build something, but they didn't have the right mindset. And so when they build it and they look at it, it's all crooked. It's leaning to one side, or something has happened. It's because they didn't keep the positive mindset in their building.
Okay.
Keep positive people around you too when you're building, to make sure that you're focused and that you're staying true to your vision as well.
That's good, Dr. Capehart. Look, that was good information, but we're about to close out this episode, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your new book that you have that you're about to release. Have you released it yet?
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, because can you tell us about?
I released the journal in January, and because I had a conference in January, and then my goal was to have the book Be Seated released in March, and then we did the Ask Big Destiny Toolkit, and it just released. So now all 3 books are released, and we're super excited about that. But the foundation of Ask Big came to me on a cruise a couple of years back, when God showed me an incident that happened at the captain's banquet when and I don't know how much time we have.
No, as a matter of fact, we don't. I know, I'm so sorry.
The waiter brought an entree to the guest, and he brought the man's entree, and then he brought the wife's entree, and he placed the entree in front of the man and a plate in front of the woman. And I heard her say, "What is this?" And she said it with such force. When she said that, I leaned over and looked, and she said it again. "What is this?" He said, "Ma'am, I brought you what you asked for." And I leaned over and looked, and she said, "Do you see this?" She turned her plate to me, and he had written in cherry icing the word nothing. And he said, "I brought you what you asked for. When I asked you what you wanted, you said, I want nothing." God spoke to me and said, "Tell the people to ask big. I'm getting ready to bring them to the table.
Okay.
Whatever they ask for is what I'm going to bring."
That's
and
good.
That
Dr. Capehart, that is
birthed into my spirit and into my heart.
Dr. Capehart,
when God brings us to the table, we don't just ask, but we ask big.
Dr. Capehart, that is so good. I love that. That is so good. That is so good. I love that. And I believe they can purchase your product. Is it on Amazon?
Yes, it's on Amazon, or they can go to my website at Ask Big online, and they can find my books there.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Yvonne Capeheart, for being a part
so much for having me
of the Achieve Show. Listen, it was a pleasure. You dropped some great gems and nuggets for us to utilize so we can become a part of that 8%. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into Achieve. I'm your host, Wanda Martin. Hey, be safe, be great, and be 8 all day. God bless.